Most people think money is about numbers. It's not. Money is about identity. And the moment you understand that, you will never look at a paycheck the same way again. Rich people are not smarter than you. They are not luckier than you most of the time. What they have that you probably don't is a different relationship with money. A different set of beliefs, running quietly in the background, shaping every decision they make before they even realize they're making it. Today, we're breaking down 5 psychology facts about money that wealthy people understand instinctively. Not tips. Not tricks. Facts about how the mind actually works when it comes to wealth. Stay till the end, because fact number 4 is the one most people get completely backwards, and it's the reason so many hardworking people stay stuck for life. Let's begin.
FACTONE, money is a story you were told before you could even question it. Before you ever earned a single dollar, you already had a belief about money. You absorbed it. From your parents arguing about bills. From a teacher who said, not everyone can be rich. From a culture that quietly taught you that wanting more money makes you greedy, or that rich people are somehow bad people. Psychologists call these money scripts, unconscious beliefs about money that were formed in childhood and now run your financial life on autopilot. And here's the uncomfortable truth: most people never examine these scripts. They just live inside them, like a fish that doesn't know it's in water. Rich people, on the other hand, tend to interrogate their money scripts early. They ask, is this actually true, or is this just something I was told? Someone who grew up hearing money doesn't grow on trees often develops a scarcity mindset, a belief that there is never enough, that every dollar spent is a dollar lost forever. This mindset makes people hoard, or worse, avoid looking at their finances altogether, because looking feels like confronting fear. But someone who was taught, even subtly, that money is a tool, that it can be created, multiplied, moved, grows up thinking in terms of opportunity instead of loss. Same starting income. Completely different trajectory. Because the story in their head is different. Here's the task. Think about the very first thought that comes to your mind when you imagine having 10 times your current income. If that thought is fear of losing it, fear of people judging you, fear of not deserving it, that's not a fact about money. That's a script. And scripts can be rewritten. FACTTWO, the wealthy obsess over what they own, not what they earn. This is where most people get trapped for decades. We are taught to chase a bigger salary, a bigger title, a bigger paycheck. And it feels good, because a bigger number hitting your account feels like progress. But here's what rich people understand instead: income is temporary. Assets are permanent. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket even when you are not working. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket, even if it looks impressive. A high salary that gets spent on a bigger house, a bigger car, and more stuff isn't wealth, it's just a faster treadmill. Psychologically, this is incredibly hard to accept, because our brains are wired for status, and status is visible. A new car is visible. A stock portfolio quietly compounding in the background is invisible. Nobody claps for you at a barbecue because you put money into an index fund instead of buying new shoes. Rich people train themselves to feel good about invisible progress. That is a psychological skill, not a financial one. It means being comfortable looking, on the surface, like you have less, while underneath, you are building something that will eventually make you free. Ask yourself honestly, in the last year, did most of your money buy you things that make you look successful, or things that quietly work for you while you sleep? FACTTHUEE, they think in decades. Everyone else thinks in days. There is a famous psychological study called the marshmallow test. Researchers gave children one marshmallow, with a promise: wait 15 minutes without eating it, and you'll get 2. The children who could wait tended to do better later in life: better grades, better relationships, better financial outcomes. Money works the same way, just stretched across decades instead of minutes. Poor and middle class thinking is often trapped in the immediate. What can this money buy me right now? What problem does this solve today? Rich thinking asks a completely different question: what does this money become if I don't touch it for 20 years? This is not about willpower. It's about time horizon. When your brain is wired for survival, it prioritizes now, because now is when threats exist. But wealth is built by people who have trained their brains to tolerate discomfort in the present for a payoff they may not even fully see for a decade or more. This is why so many lottery winners go broke within a few years. The money changed. The time horizon in their mind did not. They still thought in days, just with more zeros attached. Building real wealth means asking a strange, almost uncomfortable question every time money touches your hands: if I do nothing with this except let it grow, what does it become in 20 years? Most people have never once asked themselves that question. The people who become wealthy ask it constantly. FACTFOUA, fear of loss controls the poor far more than desire for gain controls the rich, and this gets misunderstood by almost everyone. Here is where most people have it backwards. The common belief is that rich people are risk takers, fearless gamblers who bet big and win big. That's mostly a myth built by movies. In reality, wealthy individuals are often more calculated about risk than anyone else, not because they're fearless, but because they've separated fear from decision making. Behavioral economists call this loss aversion, the psychological tendency to feel the pain of losing something roughly twice as strongly as the pleasure of gaining the same amount. Everyone has loss aversion. It's built into the human brain. The difference is what people do with it. Someone with an untrained relationship to money lets loss aversion make every decision for them. They avoid investing because they might lose money. They avoid starting a business because it might fail. They stay in a job they hate because change feels riskier than misery. Ironically, this safe path is often the riskiest one of all because it guarantees stagnation. Wealthy individuals don't feel less fear. They've simply learned to separate the emotion from the decision. They ask, is this fear giving me useful information, or is it just noise from an ancient part of my brain that doesn't understand stock markets or business ownership? Then they make the decision based on data, not adrenaline. This is a skill. It can be trained. It starts with noticing the feeling of fear around money without immediately obeying it. FACTFIVE, they engineer their environment so that ambition feels normal, not delusional. There's a psychological principle called social proof. Humans calibrate what's normal based on the people around them. If everyone in your circle believes 6 figures is the ceiling, your brain will quietly agree, even if you never say it out loud. If everyone around you talks about bills, struggle, and scarcity, your nervous system starts treating scarcity as the baseline reality of life. Wealthy people often instinctively curate who they spend time with. Not out of snobbery, out of psychological self-defense. They surround themselves with people who are further ahead because it recalibrates what feels possible. When you're the least successful person in a room, ambition doesn't feel arrogant. It feels normal. It feels like the next obvious step. This is uncomfortable to hear because it means your environment might be quietly working against you, even if the people in it love you and mean well. Family, friends, and coworkers can hold you back not through malice, but simply because their own beliefs about what's realistic become the ceiling you unconsciously accept for yourself. You don't have to abandon anyone, but you do have to notice whose voice is loudest in your head when you think about making a bold financial move. And is that voice speaking from experience or from fear? Clossinger's The Truth Underneath All 5 of these facts: wealth was never really about the money. It's about the mind that holds it. The scripts you inherit it. What you chase versus what you build. Whether you think in days or decades. Whether fear drives your decisions or simply informs them. And who you allow to define what's normal for your life. None of this requires a head start. None of this requires luck. It requires awareness, the willingness to look at the invisible programming running your financial decisions and to rewrite it, one honest decision at a time. If this made you think differently, even for a moment, that's the whole point. Subscribe if you want more of this real psychology, real mindset shifts, no fluff. and I'll see you in the next one.